Welcome to the very first episode of Smooch and Spill, Smooch Ice Cream's brand new podcast hosted by me, Shauna Doyle. Smooch and Spill is a podcast where we chat to some of your favourite Irish guests and react to some of the most embarrassing, funny stories and iconic life moments sent in anonymously by our listeners. We are kicking off our very first episode with none other than Katie Jackson, a very well-known fashion, beauty and lifestyle content creator. We chat to Katie about school, college, driving tests, and of course some of our own very hilarious secrets and iconic life moments. And make sure you listen to the very end of this podcast because we are giving away a pair of AirPods to win. So today's guest is Katie Jackson, which you probably all follow, know and love. Katie, actually we only met recently enough, didn't we?
We actually met at an event in Limerick. We were doing a fashion show together and we had kind of been like Instagram friends before that. Like, you know, that I saw a quote recently and it was like, that Instagram girl that you don't know, but like still hypes you up.
Yeah, we were. And how did you actually get into social media?
So I started social media probably, I'd say maybe 4 years ago now. I kind of just started because it was in my family. Like people probably know my sister Suzanne, my sister Carla, my mum is now a fashion blogger. So it's kind of been in my family. So I wanted to do it when I saw them do it. And then I had also built like a little following because of them. So then when people start, messaging me, this was back when I had like maybe 5,000 followers and then it got to 10K and then it went on. So people were like, oh, we'd actually like love to see your haul or your fashion tips and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, may as well just take a stab at it. Like if people are here and they want to see that, why not?
Yeah, definitely. I actually just love your like fashion hauls and stuff. And I love that you're after getting into like doing your girl talks as well. I feel like that turned into such a thing from lockdown. And I just love them. It's nice to see like a bit of fashion, a bit of beauty, but I love the like chatting aspect of it and like all the stuff that your followers send in and stuff is fab. You're like doing this kind of full time now, aren't you? Obviously you're in college as well doing marketing, is it?
Yeah, I'm studying marketing. I've just finished my third year, so there's 1 year left.
Amazing. Nearly there. So
I know, it's mad. I feel like, because obviously my journey towards college wasn't as straightforward as others. I actually have this on my Instagram under a college inspo highlight because I did my leaving cert, did really bad in it, didn't get my points, didn't get my course, then had to go and do a PLC, which I absolutely loved. Like I met friends for life in that PLC. It was the best thing that I ever did. Then from that PLC, I got into a higher cert, which is a level 6, I think it was, because obviously a degree is a level 8. So I did a level 6 in marketing, and then the level 6 progressed me into a level 8. So now I'm in the degree. So I've just finished my third year in the degree, which is amazing. I'm so proud that I actually did it because that was all I wanted from the beginning of school was to do marketing and DIT. So I've just finished third year, final year is next year, and then I am fully qualified with a marketing degree.
And do you think you're going to use your marketing degree straight away, or do you think you're going to do mostly Instagram or a bit of both? Or like, I know that you work with such big brands like Pretty Thing, Nasty Gal, like so many. Do you have any like big collaborations in the works, or is there any that like sticks out in your head as one that you're just super proud of?
I mean, all the brands that I work with, I'm so happy to be working with them. Like they've always been brands that I've loved and bought myself. I suppose the two biggest brands that I work with now and on an ongoing basis is Nasty Gal and Pretty Little Thing. So they were really, a pat on the back because I think most girls, nearly every girl would have ever bought something from Nasty Gal or PLT. I mean, I started off with gifting products and the kind Brielle, Pure and Marissa were kind enough to send me gifted products. So it started off like that. And then when they actually wanted to work with me on a paid basis, it was like, oh, wow, that's absolutely amazing. So I'm grateful to every brand that wants to work with me. I mean, I even did an iPhone giveaway recently with Pear, which was so cool. So I'm grateful for every brand that works with me. But the two that probably stick out in my head right now would be Nasty Gal and PLT.
Yeah, I remember that iPhone giveaway. That was literally insane. I've never seen a giveaway like that before. It literally was just like it blew up, absolutely insane. And I suppose there's probably people listening who want to get into like content creation and blogging. Do you have any advice for people, or like what have you kind of learned from being in the industry? Maybe good and bad things?
Suppose the one thing that I always say, like even if I do Q&A and people ask, I'm trying to get my little blog off the ground, or I'm trying to make myself known on social media, the one tip I'd always give is you need to stay authentic. You need to be yourself. I mean, it's quite easy to get lost in like the Instagram, whatever you want to call it, like pool or whatever it is, because everybody is doing their own thing, or everybody is doing, if a trend is happening right now, like say, I think the latest trend right now is those Zara color jeans. So some people might feel like they need to go and get them to be in that trend. So no matter what's going on Instagram, you need to stay true to yourself. And if you don't want to support, like say, for example, if you're like a sustainable fashion blogger and you don't want to support fast fashion, or the opposite way around, you need to stay in that field, and you need to know, and obviously just do what you know best. Like, so I suppose stay authentic, and consistency is key. You need to be consistent. I saw a thing recently that said, reels, they're probably the way forward now for Instagram. Shauna, I'm sure you know yourself as a content creator. So being consistent, letting your audience know, like, if say you're doing a Q&A, let them know you do like something like that, like Girly Talk that I did. Like, that's just another way for my followers to see another side of me. Also, I feel like YouTube is a thing that people are using right now to see their side of them. Like, I've seen a few recent vlogs of people I follow on Instagram, and I said to myself, wow, like I actually never knew they even had that personality, because sometimes that can get lost on Instagram. So yeah, just stay true to yourself, be consistent, and just do what you love.
100%. That's so true. And that's actually really true as well about YouTube. I think everyone's trying to get back into YouTube, because I loved it when I was younger. Like, I was a massive Zoe and Alfie fan, and I actually would pick YouTube over Instagram any day. And it's so true that it's like when something that's trending, everyone goes to it. So it's like Instagram at the moment, but I'm glad to see YouTube is making a return. And yeah, I definitely agree with everything you said about like being authentic and consistency and all that jazz. But obviously, working in regards to social media has some negatives as well as the positives that we've mentioned, like working with incredible brands and like making friends with your followers and stuff. How would you kind of, I suppose, or any advice that you'd give maybe to someone who's just starting off? I know we all go through this like little bump at the start. It's like you're kind of getting somewhere, but like you're not doing anything major yet. And it's like you're half mortified, or what are people saying about you in your school or whatever? And obviously we know that as you get like bigger and more well known, that only gets worse rather than better. So like, do you have any advice of how to deal with it, or just ignore it, block it? I remember my dad said something to me recently, and I actually will never forget it. He was talking about missed calls from unknown numbers, but I think it fits with anonymous accounts too. He was like, I don't answer an unknown number because I don't want to know who they are if they don't want me to know who they are. And I was like, that's a really good quote. Like, if someone has to hide behind an unknown number or anonymous account or something, like, I don't want to know who you are.
Wow, that's very good. That's a really good way of looking at it.
Isn't it?
I suppose what I've learned, like from, say, for example, Suzanne, right? Suzanne is in this industry a long time. So she has more experience than I would. So I always listen to what her advice is. And her advice always is you do develop a thicker skin. For me, like if I get a hate comment, it might affect me more than it would hate Suzanne, because Suzanne is in it longer. She's built her thicker skin. She's learned to deal with it. So yes, someone who's on it, like someone who begins or starts out and starts to get all these really nasty, hateful comments, it's hard to see past it, and it just consumes you, and that one thought lives in your head, and it's really hard not to take offense to it or get upset by it. And my mum and dad always say, just ignore it. Do not fuel the fire. Do not go back at them, because that's all they want.
I saw something like that before. It's like, people who aren't like doing anything don't have haters. So you're doing something well if you do. Like, people just don't like hate on someone, like let's say someone walking in the street for no reason. But if you're like putting yourself out there and like doing something unusual, or like trying this new thing, or just like exactly being proud of yourself. And I think there's nearly this maybe it's an Irish thing, maybe it's just a thing against bloggers, but I feel like people go on watching, wanting to and not everyone, obviously, because like you said, the good always outweighs the bad, but people can kind of view it nearly like a negative way even before you do anything. It's like, whatever she shows today now is just showing off. Whatever she says today is just like trying to brag. And it's like, why can't people be happy for other people's success? Like, regardless of if you're a blogger or not. Like I even saw someone the other day being like, if you feel like you can't like announce that you got like a new car or engaged or had a baby or are pregnant or something because you're scared of like what your family or friends might say or what your followers might say, it's like just leave them, unfollow, because you're not like the people who are meant to be around you will stay. And I just always consider that as a massive thing. Like I sometimes get like see my numbers dropping. I'm like, I don't even care about the numbers. It's like, what did I do that so many people like wanted to unfollow me? And then I'm like, if they don't like me, it's fine. They're better gone than here and like watching and hating. You know what I mean?
Well, I suppose I 100% agree with you. And I've probably felt like that myself in the past where I've looked at my numbers and I've been upset if they drop. But at the same time, I obviously want to produce content that people love. So I understand where you're coming from, as if when they go, it's like, why do they go? Why do they leave? What made them not want to follow me anymore? So you just get over that. You just learn to appreciate the people that are there, the people that follow you. I mean, I love having conversations with people who have been around from the beginning. And then saying that I also love having conversation with new followers. So it is like a balancing scale. But the one quote that has stuck in my mind, Shauna, since you've ever sent to me was, someone will always have something to say about you, whether it's out of admiration or jealousy. Either way, you aren't bothered because you're making shit happen while they're talking about you. So that is the bad in a nutshell. You have to be so unbothered by these people because they're sitting behind a screen. They have nothing better to do with their days than pick on you. And also, one thing I will say is, if someone is bothered by hate and it's consuming them and they're new to Instagram, you need to read Vex King's books or even follow him on Instagram. He has completely changed my outlook on Instagram and my perspective on hate and jealousy. Wow. And he is amazing. He is absolutely amazing. So either follow him on Instagram, see some of his quotes, or his books are in Eason's, or get them online. They're absolutely amazing.
Unreal. I actually have that quote as my screensaver because I'm like, it's just something you need to remember. But anyway, we should probably get into the secrets anyway, what we're here for.
Smooch ice cream is available in 180 stores nationwide. You can find your local Smooch by visiting www.mysmooch.ie.
Just to kind of explain a bit more about the podcast. So Smooch and Spill, basically we have loads of amazing guests on like yourself, and we talk about some secrets, kind of cringy ones, embarrassing ones, funny ones, and also some iconic life events. I got a few of them myself in. So we have some here from Smooch, we have some from me, and we have some from you. So we will run through them. And because you're the guest, I'm actually going to leave you start off. So whatever one you want to pick, work away.
Okay, so we'll go with a secret first. So this person says, my friend's boyfriend asked me out while he was going out with her. I said no, obviously, but I never told her he asked. They're still together 2 years on. Do you think I should have told her? So I often get things like this in my own girl talk, where it's either the best friend is betrayed or the boyfriend is betrayed or the ex. It's always something along those lines. And my answer to it always is yes. Yes. You should always tell. You should always be truthful. You should always be honest. And especially in this case, it is. So I presume this is the girl saying that my friend's boyfriend. So yeah, if she's your friend, they're still together. That girl deserves to know. And I think you owe it to her as her friend to tell her.
Like that just freaks me out. And it actually gives me trust issues, and I'm literally not in a relationship, but it kind of makes me happy that I'm not. Because I'm like, if I was, I would literally be like in bed every night being like, who is he talking to? What's going on? And like, I'm that one, like I get kind of crazy in relationships. I won't lie. Like I'd be like looking at who's like following him, who's he following, who's in his tags photos. Yeah, I do. But then again, I think I've grown since then. Like I was in a relationship when I was like 18. So I've grown a little bit. Character development. So this girl wrote in one of her iconic life moments. And when she was like a child, I think she said like 8, 9 or 10, she met Kate Moss and Stella McCartney, and she didn't even know who they were. And now she's like 25 and she's like, oh my God, I literally met Kate Moss and Stella McCartney when I was like a child. But I thought that'd be a good one to say to you, because obviously you have like Suzanne Jackson as your sister, which I fangirl over all the time. And like all your family is really well known. You're a little famous yourself. But who has been like maybe a celebrity that's like slid into your DMs or followed you, or even one that you've met from a child or like recently?
this is funny because none. Like, I've
Really?
never had a celebrity slide in my DMs. As much as I'd love maybe like a Greg O'Shea, like if you're open to that, Greg, hit me up. But no, I've never had like a celebrity slide into my DMs, or I've never had one follow me.
Really?
Actually, this is a random one, right? But obviously Love Island. I'm sure everybody in the world watches Love Island. Well, I'm addicted to it anyway. Remember the season with like I think it was Maura and Ovi and Molly May and all.
Mm-hmm.
So remember the girl India that was seeing Ovi at the end. So she was in the final with him.
Yeah.
So she's like real dark hair, like she's absolutely beautiful. She follows my sister-in-law, and like always just be like liking pictures of my nieces and nephew and all, and just randomly followed my sister-in-law one day. So like that's like the most like famous person that's like in the family per se. Like no one famous follows me, but like I thought that was mad that like India from Love Island follows my sister-in-law and like likes photos of my niece and nephew and all. Like I'm gonna be like to Vicky, get a selfie of me and put it up and let India know who I am. But no, it's, in terms of where it goes for me, no one famous.
Have you ever met anyone famous at like those events, like kind of like PLT events, or even like ever been out at an event with maybe your sister or something, and like even seen someone? I know I seen, like obviously didn't meet her, but Emily Shack before was at a Nasty Gal event that I was at, and I was just like, oh my God. I've met a few Love Island people, but I haven't met like any like, I don't know, like movie celebrities or actresses or anything, and I'd love to meet one of them. Like someone wrote in saying that she hugged Jason Momoa. Do you know him, the Aquaman guy? You'd know him to see, all right, he's like long hair and extremely muscly. Like he's really good looking, but he looks like a merman. Like that is his role. As she hugged him, I was like, oh my God. I don't know, Katie, I thought you would have had something spicy for us there now.
like, okay, maybe like, so I've met Emily Shack, I've met Laura Anderson.
Okay, see, I knew you had some up your sleeve.
But you know who I like, my ideal celebrity to meet? Top two. Ellen Pompeo and not Ellen Pompeo and Patrick Dempsey. I'm gonna go and try and find him because he's in Ireland and that's tempting.
Yeah, he's from Grey's Anatomy, isn't he? And who's the other girl?
Please tell me that you've watched Grey's Anatomy.
I haven't, and I need to, because I love medical things. Like I'm watching Chicago Med, and I literally said to my friend the other day, who's a pharmacist, I was like, Maeve, I need to go back to college and do medicine. Like I have to do it. I need to be a doctor. I failed my driving test 7 times, never told anyone except for my family, told everyone else that I passed after the second time. Now I know you're like a driving queen. You have an IGTV on it and everything. So tell us your experiences on that.
Yeah, so that's actually very funny because I passed first time, but I never told anyone that I was going to do it. Like only my parents knew, because I was afraid that if I was to tell everyone and then they'd be like, oh, how'd you get on? And then I'm like, I failed. Like obviously not that it's embarrassing to fail, but I just didn't want to tell anyone because I wanted it to be like a big surprise that, oh my God, I passed. So didn't tell anyone. My parents knew. My dad brought me up to the test center, and I feel like I was so blessed that I got a really good like testing instructor. Like his name was Tim, and I still remember him. Like he was so lovely. So I suppose he kind of calmed my nerves a bit, because I knew that I was getting a nice guy, and I was looking to pass first time, so I was delighted. But I had a horrific experience with driving. Like if you were to go on and watch that IGTV, you will hear all about it. Like I did my 12 lessons, but I'd say by like lesson 10 I still couldn't drive. Like still could not drive.
That's so gonna be me. I'm doing my theory test in August, and I'm like, I'm probably going to fail that a few times.
The theory test is fine, because for me, what I found was the theory test is like multiple choice questions. So if you study the disc that they sell like in bookshops and stuff, and just learn the questions inside out, upside down, back to front, the same questions come up on the day, so you'll be familiar with them. But the actual driving experience, like it was horrific. I thought that I was never going to drive. My whole family were like, Katie, we're just going to have to get you an automatic car because you're never going to drive a manual. Like couldn't understand how the clutch worked, how the accelerator worked, how the gears worked. In a nutshell, it was horrific. But I got there. I got a really good instructor to help me with the end before I went and did my driving test, and I passed on the first go. So delighted. So that's actually a very funny story how she told everyone she passed on the second go.
That's amazing though. Fair play to you. I don't think I'd be able to pass on the first time. I probably won't pass until like my 10th time, but sure luck. Who's counting?
You have to say to yourself, I'm going to pass, I'm going to pass, I'm going to pass. I really hated my wedding day. The only thing I liked was my dress, but I just hated the whole day. It was so much pressure and I couldn't wait for it to be over.
I feel like I could agree with this. Obviously, haven't been married, but I feel like I would hype it up so much because even like I know when I'm getting ready for a night out, I start getting ready about a week in advance, and then something goes wrong, and I'm like, oh my God. I was worse when I was younger, you know, like now since I go out more and I do like spontaneous nights out where I'm like putting on instant hand just where you can see it. I'm like my wrists and my ankles and my chest and anywhere else. Whereas like back in the day, like when it was like my first few times going out, I'd be like so stressed, like everything had to be perfect, everything had to be matching, the pictures had to turn out how I was expecting, and you'd be like in TY or something and it's like not the end of the world for your Facebook album, like. But yeah, I feel like I'll definitely be the same, but I suppose you can't look at it that way either. You have to just be like, enjoy the day for what it is and not freaking out if not everything goes to plan. But I would just be like, I wanted this to happen and this didn't happen. But it's such a big day, and I suppose because it only happens once and you spend so much time and money to make it like perfect. But I think if you're just worrying the whole day about making it like perfect as well, then you won't enjoy it. It's kind of better to like, I suppose, just go with the flow, even though I did see this TikTok and I'll never get it out of my head. It's actually the reason why I wouldn't do makeup on a bride. I got asked a few times and I just have like PTSD from this TikTok. So basically the girl was like doing the bride's makeup, and obviously she just had on like pajamas or something, she didn't have on the dress, but she was like shaking a bottle of foundation before she like poured it out, and it just exploded everywhere, all over the room, the walls, her veil, all the bridesmaid dresses. It didn't go on the wedding dress, but it was like all in her hair and everything, and it was like a dark like orangey foundation, like for tan, like in her blonde hair, all over her. And I would just physically get sick. Like,
my God.
I actually don't know what I would do. I'd probably cry and then get sick and then run away and probably never do it again. Could you imagine? Like, even when I was working in Mac, like if someone came in, I'd be like, are these your clothes for later on? Because I'd always just be so like, obviously I wouldn't be pouring a whole bottle of foundation over it, but like even when you like pick up your brush and there's like fallout, you're like putting your arm in the way.
God, Shauna, that's intense.
I know. What do you think? Or do you think you'll be stressed about your wedding day, or do you think you'll just be like cool as a breeze, go with the flow?
No, I definitely won't be cool as a breeze because that's not me. I tend to get really like overworked and like worked up over things. But then at the same time, you spend like, how long do you spend getting ready for your wedding day? And like I've seen it with Suzanne, I've seen her prepare and prep her wedding day and plan it. And I suppose there's only so much planning that you can do. And then when it comes to the day, you have to just let go, like just trust that everything that you've done is enough and that your day will run smoothly. And I suppose for someone to say that they only liked their dress, that's hard because like you said, you only get married once and it is supposed to be a special day. But maybe if Alfie really wants to be part of this episode, maybe if they could like do like a little small gathering for their family, maybe like do like a second mini wedding where she can like try and do a second attempt at it and just make it a little bit more special, because no one wants to have a bad memory of their wedding day, but at the same time, you know, it's only an event. You're married now, you're with the love of your life, you're happy, so just maybe just, you know, try and either put it out of your head or maybe do like a little second gathering and try and
because a lot of people actually do that, kind of like renewing your vows and stuff to like kind of redo the day. So you could definitely do something like that. Do you have a wedding dress kind of in mind? Are you like me and have like your whole Pinterest board organized?
Yeah. So when I was like, let's say I don't really know when the movie came out. It's Bride Wars, right? So you know the one with Kate Hudson and what's that actress's name? She's so famous. She's in Les Mis and all. I always forget her name.
Anne Hathaway.
Yes. So it was my favorite movie ever. So I always wanted the wedding that Kate Hudson wanted in the movie. So, you know, she plans out the wedding with like the room is done the way I want it, like all her coloring scheme, and then her dress is just, even her ring is what I want. I have my agent picked out and I'm flipping single. But the dress is gonna have, now this might change and it probably will. So it has the sweetheart neck, so it has like the little like boob, like what's it, like a boob tube where like there's no straps. So it has like the boob tube sweetheart neck, and then it's like a corset, so it comes down just to my waist, and that's like tight, and then it just flows outwards. And then the back is kind of like the top of my back has like all open, and I have like a really nice drip and go spray tan. And then I'll probably do a veil, but I'm probably gonna have 2 dresses on my wedding day, and I'd love like a second one for like dancing. So that would be my first one, like my actual dress that I get married in, with a really nice veil. But then I want my hair like Hollywood waves. And then the second dress for the dancing is like really like slick, tight silk, and it has like a really nice, sexy back. And my veil will be off then, but I'll probably have like a little headpiece. So yeah,
done. I'm the same. I'm definitely gonna have 2 dresses, a ball gown, and like that's a kind of tight one. But I'm like, why are we picking the tight ones for the dancing? We should have like something loose and flowy on. But anyway, we won't worry about it. I will do one more. Oh my God, this one is really funny. I actually love this one. I went on a blind date that my friend set up for me. I had a complete blank when we met and completely forgot his name. We were meant to be going to a bar for a drink, but we passed a Starbucks on the way. So I asked him to get a coffee with me first. He said he didn't even want one. So I must have sounded crazy when I forced him to go in, but I really just wanted to find out his name when they wrote it on the cup.
Oh my God, that is iconic. Like, not to forget his name part, but the Starbucks to have his name put on the cup, like that is genius.
It really is. She was like, oh my God, like Kim Possible or something with those reflexes. That was a very good idea.
I wonder, did it work? Like, I need to know the rest of the story. I need to know if it worked. Did he find out? Did she find out his name? Did they go for dinner? Did they meet again? Like, I always need to know more.
Imagine if they just didn't write his name on the cup that day, like that one day. They're like, yeah, we're not taking names today.
Oh, good. Sometimes they do that as well. And I'm like, ask me my name. I want my name in my cup.
I know. And they always spell my name wrong. And I'm like, it's quite a basic name. I've gotten Shauna with a W and everything, like Shauna.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. I suppose you can't go wrong with Katie. You can literally go KT.
No, I've had some funky spellings of Katie, like Kathy, so a Katy or a Kathy, or a Kate. I'm mostly mistaken for a Kate. Actually, funny story. My mum wanted to call me Kate when I was born, but my granddad had a horse called Kate, so he asked could it be Katie. So that's where Katie came from. But I was supposed to be a Kate. Best friend, right? Her name is Bevan Kelly. So her dad's name is obviously Kelly, but our mum's maiden name is Nevin. So her name would have been Bevan Nevin.
Oh, that's really funny. You know what else I always do? Like the second you're like even texting a guy, you start putting their surname after yours to see if you like it. And I'm like, if it doesn't work, we can't continue this. Even though I think I'm going to keep my name. You're probably the same, are you? Or would you do like double barrel or?
I'd probably do double barrel, but it depends. I suppose it's kind of like, say for Suzanne example, she has a business, so she wanted to keep Jackson for her business, but then she also took O'Connor, which is her husband's name, for like life and stuff, like passports, driver's license and stuff. So hers is a double barrel. But I suppose I definitely would keep Jackson in there, but then it also depends on if the person I marry's name was like really, really nice, like something like what's like so say for example, my best friend, right, her boyfriend's second name is Woods. And like, it's just like a really cool name. So like, unless the name was like cool, then I wouldn't change it. And maybe
Katie Jackson Wood sounds very cool though.
Don't be putting my name on his name. I'll have my friend text me, what are you doing trying to steal my boyfriend?
Yeah, I'm the same. I feel like a name with a D always sounds good after Shauna, like Shauna O'Donovan, Shauna O'Dwyer, Shauna, I don't know. So I'm like, it needs to be a D. Yeah. Shauna Jackson, if you want to adopt me. I don't have those issues for a long time because no man on the scene. Meet
your best friend.
Oh, I know, right. But anyway, thank you so much for being involved.
No problem. Thanks for having me. This is so exciting. So I'm glad that I could be a part of this and be a guest. So thanks for having me.
So that's it, folks, our very first episode. Thank you so much for listening to the end. Thank you so much to Katie for being involved, and a massive thank you to everyone who sent in their secrets. We couldn't have done it without you. So I guess you're wondering, how do I win those AirPods? All you have to do is follow both myself, Shauna Doyle, and Smooch Ice Cream over on Instagram. Share this episode to your story and make sure you tag both of us so we can see your entries. We really hope that you enjoyed our very first episode, and make sure to follow us here on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, because there's many more guests to come, many more secrets, and much more fun. And of course, there's much more prizes to be won as well. We'd also love to hear from you, so if your secret wasn't featured this time, make sure to send it into our next question box, and also just let us know what you thought of our very first podcast.